All right, Coach. Want to start with an opening statement for us?
Ooh. I'm pretty sure it was an amazing game to watch from the stands, but it couldn't have been more amazing to sit on the sideline and watch your ladies just continue to fight. And tonight, we took another step towards greatness. We were in an overtime game at Temple to open the season, one that we came up short in. But tonight we came out on the other side, and that's growth. And I told them in the locker room, it doesn't matter how you start, it's how you finish. And we probably had one of the roughest starts we probably ever had, but these girls stayed resilient.
Questions just for the student athletes first, please.
For Zah and Ken, for both of you, the first half, I think, doesn't need a whole lot of introduction. And you guys started to make a comeback there in the second half, but it felt like kind of rolling the ball up the hill. You'd get it back down to 5 or 4 points, and then Georgetown would push it back up again. You guys are down 40-29 with 7.5 to go. What clicked in that moment that you guys broke through and pushed it all the way back?
I would say defense. Defense is really what gave us that momentum, getting those stops, so that was good.
Zah, you specifically, didn't have the greatest first half, but I think it speaks a lot that you managed to score 17 in the second half, with 9 coming in the final 5 minutes when your team needed it the most. What allowed you to stay in the game mentally, even when things were going about as poorly as they probably could have?
I say my coaches just telling me to take my time, be patient. The game's not over. We still got time, so.
Thank you.
How you doing? Zahara Kennedy, coach, Latrell Pryor, Fourth Estate. Going into the fourth, what's the mindset in the huddle and then amongst you guys when you're down, but you feel like you can still pull a win out?
The mindset is to fight. At the end of the day, we didn't know if we were going to have another quarter after that. So we're just going to give our all and then see what the outcome was.
Thank you, players.
Thank you, guys.
Good job, y'all.
Thank you. Give it Ivy. Rest. Take them on.
Coach, I'll ask you the same question. You guys are on pace at the point with about 7 minutes to go. You're shooting about the worst percentage. I think going back to the stats, go back to 2010 for her hoop stats. Ooh. The worst percentage on track for you guys, and yet you find a way to dominate, and you outscore them 32-14 from that point on. How did you guys pull this win out?
I think you heard it best from them. They just knew to keep fighting, and MJ in every huddle kept telling this team, "We're going to win. We're going to win, no matter what the scoreboard looked like." And that's the veteran leadership you get there. But Ken and Zah just really stepped up. It was really interesting because Zah had been in this place. I heard Coach Ward saying, "You've been here before." When the game was on the line in overtime, and she stepped up. All of them did. But Ken kept steady the whole game. She just kept us right there within reach. But our defense was really good tonight against a really solid team. For us to hold them to 50 points with one of our worst shooting nights, I think we just put our energy into getting stops and just trusted that our shooting would come around.
How would you explain Maria Moteng's performance? Because I don't want that to get lost in the shuffle. It felt like she was a pest for Georgetown the entire game, as well as Jada Brown. All the steals that your players were able to get in very timely moments. How would you quantify that?
Oh, I mean, they're as much a part of this comeback win as anything. Without those steals, without that hustle, they just played with heart and resilience, and that's what both of them do. That's what they bring to the team, and they just stepped up and they played their role.
Thank you.
How you doing, Coach? I wanted to ask about MJ Johnson. It felt like she was a force out there throughout the entire game. She got a double-double tonight. If you could just speak on her performance.
She was huge. I mean, none of this happens without everybody playing their part tonight, but MJ was really big, a double-double, especially when we got really dry offensively. We needed buckets. She was just scoring down there, allowing us to get into the press and allowing to get more steals. But her confidence in how she communicated with her team tonight was exceptional. She kept telling them they were going to win.
One more question. You guys did a really good job in the fourth and in overtime of defending without fouling. Could you just talk about what you emphasize, in practice or in the game to, get that out of your players?
Well, I think they really, I think the whole night they played solidly. I just think in the first quarter we got ourselves into some tough foul trouble in Zah and MJ. But I think after that they stuck to the scouting report, and they were where they were supposed to be for the most part.
Thank you.
schedule obviously doesn't get any easier, obviously, from here on out. But what do you take away? What's your biggest takeaway from a game like this, where you start as bad as you can be, and then you probably finish as about as good as you've played all season long?
Yeah, well, this season is new, right? Like, it's not, you can't look at it and say, oh, last year this would have been. This team is finding their way, and these are the games that they learn who they are, right, in these battles. We came away in a overtime loss a couple of games ago, and then they were able to turn around and show this resilience. And I think every game on our schedule is going to teach us about ourselves, and this is good for them, to see what fight and not giving up will do for them. And you're right, it doesn't get any easier, and it was designed that way.